Daniel Carter lived a quiet life in his countryside cabin, nestled between golden fields and thick forests. His days were spent carving wood, creating pieces inspired by nature. But one chilly evening, everything changed. As he poured a cup of coffee, a rustling outside caught his attention. It wasn't the wind or the distant hoot of an owl. This was different. Something was near the barn. Grabbing his flashlight, he stepped into the crisp autumn air. The beam landed on a small, trembling figure near the wooden steps. His breath hitched. A tiny fox cub, barely a few weeks old, lay shivering, its reddish fur matted with dirt. It looked up, golden eyes filled with fear. Daniel's gaze shifted. Near the old oak tree, another fox lay still. A full-grown one, its coat the same shade as the cub's. His heart clenched. The mother was gone. The cub had no one. Daniel hesitated. He had no experience caring for wild animals. Taking it inside was a risk, but leaving it alone, that was a death sentence. Carefully, he removed his flannel shirt and wrapped the cub inside. It was too weak to resist. As he carried it inside, he felt the rapid thump of its tiny heart. Inside, he placed the cub near the fireplace, letting the warmth seep in. He rushed to warm a bowl of milk. It wasn't perfect, but it was all he had. Kneeling beside the cub, he set the dish down. The fox sniffed hesitantly before lapping at the milk. Relief washed over Daniel. "You're a fighter, aren't you?" he murmured. The cub, now slightly more alert, looked up at him. Something stirred inside Daniel, a strange sense of responsibility. Days passed. The cub, whom he named Rusty, grew stronger. At first, he stayed wary, keeping his distance. But soon, he followed Daniel around, curling up by his feet as he worked. But Rusty wasn't a pet. He belonged to the wild. As Rusty grew, Daniel let him explore outside. At first, he darted back inside at the slightest sound, but soon his confidence grew. He sniffed the wind, chased leaves, and learned the sounds of the wild. One evening, Daniel sat on his porch watching the sunset. Rusty stood at the edge of the clearing, nose twitching. The forest was calling. Daniel swallowed the lump in his throat. He knew this moment would come. "You're ready, aren't you?" he said softly. Rusty turned, golden eyes meeting Daniel's. For a moment he hesitated. Then he trotted back, nuzzled Daniel's hand, a silent goodbye, before bounding into the trees. Daniel sat there long after Rusty had vanished. The next morning the cabin felt emptier. He stepped onto the porch, scanning the tree line, half hoping to see a familiar red blur. Nothing. Days turned into weeks. Rusty didn't return. Daniel told himself he had done the right thing. The fox had found his place. But still, every night, he found himself listening for soft paws in the grass. Then, one late evening, as the wind howled, he heard it, a faint rustling near the barn. His heart leaped. Stepping outside, he squinted into the darkness. And then, there he was. Rusty stood at the clearing's edge, no longer the fragile cub, but a sleek, strong fox. Beside him, two smaller figures peered out. Daniel's breath caught. Rusty had returned, and he wasn't alone. A lump formed in his throat. He took a cautious step forward. Rusty didn't flinch. Their eyes met, and for a moment, time rewound. Then, something unexpected happened. Rusty trotted up to him, and this time one of the kits followed. Daniel knelt, barely daring to breathe as the tiny fox sniffed his outstretched hand. Just like before, when Rusty himself had trembled in this very spot. Now, he was bringing his own young into the world. A slow smile spread across Daniel's face. Rusty wasn't just visiting, he was introducing his family. For a long moment, Daniel sat in the quiet night, watching them. Rusty had become strong, guiding his kits just as Daniel had once guided him. A sense of peace washed over him. Rusty let out a soft chuff and turned. The kits hesitated, looking back before following their father into the woods. Daniel watched them disappear. But this time, there was no sadness. Rusty had found his place in the world. And now, so had Daniel. With a quiet sigh, he stood, heading back to the cabin. The night was still, the stars shimmering above. He hesitated at the porch, glancing back. The footprints in the dirt, the tiny ones following the larger, reminded him that some bonds never truly break. And with that, he stepped inside, carrying the warmth of the moment with him, waiting for the day Rusty might return once more.